The newest roller coaster to open up at Walt Disney World is at Hollywood Studios and is at the much needed Toy Story expansion, suddenly now making this park feel a lot bigger. And the entire new land is headlined by Slinky Dog Dash. This is Hollywood Studios' second roller coaster behind Rockin' Roller Coaster, and this one is a lot more mild. Rockin' Roller Coaster features a launch and 3 inversions. This one features 2 launches, but it's not very fast, top speed of 40 miles per hour. The height has not been released, but eyeballing it, I'd guess it's maybe around 60 to 70 feet at its highest point, probably less. But you get the idea, the coaster is not very extreme. One thing it is good at though is a nice long ride. And Disney actually does a pretty good job at that. They don't have too many roller coasters that I would consider short rides. And if there's one thing that this ride really does well is that it's very eye-catching. The presentation is just very good. The only time I've seen this coaster was at night, and I gotta say, I think my favorite part about all of it is the light package. It is so awesome. Reminds me of something that KCL would do, although KCL would probably do better. But to me, it's just really cool how the lights will follow the track, and it almost looks like the coaster changes colors. It kind of gives the illusion that the track is actually blue instead of red, or rainbow, whatever they want it to be. So that's very cool. I'm a big fan of that. Probably the coolest part of this ride is that second launch. It's very theatrical, and you have this nice overlook where everyone can watch it roll up, and then it backs up, it starts winding up, and then you see it accelerate down the launch track as Slinky's shouting, "Go, go, go." So I really enjoy that. Anyone who has ridden a roller coaster by Mach Rides knows that they tend to not be very intense or forceful launches. This is a family coaster, so is very much the case with that. The launches are very gradual. In fact, I'd say you don't really feel a whole lot of forces throughout most of this experience. And that goes for positive and negative G-force. After that second launch, you have multiple airtime hills, however you do not get any airtime over it. And that is a bit of a disappointment. I understand that the coaster is meant for kids as a very low height requirement, so I understand that it can't go extreme, but I was expecting maybe just a little something, but not even that. I think the coaster would frankly be more enjoyable if it took some of these maneuvers a bit faster, which is interesting to me because that was the same complaint I gave in my reviews for Helix and Icon, aka other launch coasters by Mach Rides. But I don't really want to compare those coasters to this one because this one is a major step down. I'd say this is probably more so on the level of Manta at SeaWorld San Diego, although I personally preferred Manta to this one. If there's one thing this one does better, it is the theming. Disney knows how to theme the rides, and this one is done very well. All of the different props and elements in the queue are so cool. One thing I love is how when you're waiting in line for it, they have an instruction booklet on how to piece the coaster together, almost like it's a Lego set. It says how many pieces of track there are, how to attach the segments together. It's pretty creative, I thought. Essentially, the whole theme with Toy Story Land is that we have been shrunk down to the size of a toy. And so this is like a little coaster for Slinky, and we get to ride it. So if you ever think of something like a Kinect's roller coaster, that's almost kind of like what they're going for here. So I love that. And of course, probably the main thing everyone thinks of when they think of Slinky Dog Dash is the train. The train is very cool. It's very long, so it fits a lot of people, and the tail does actually kind of bob back and forth, so I believe that is actually on some sort of spring. But the train head, I mean, that's the main thing that is just so cool. It's adorable. But as you're flying by, you'll see characters like Jessie and Rex, and at the very end is the singing penguin. So they really thought of everything with all of the different theming elements. In terms of layout, the ride is, fine. It's definitely a family coaster. Very mild. No one element really stood out to me. Honestly, I think my favorite part of the ride was the hill after the second launch, and it wasn't even because of that. It was actually because of the view that you get at the top. You see all of Star Wars Land from there and all the construction. To me, that was just so cool because you get to see how big it is. So it's kind of sad that the best part of this ride is that you get to see the progress of another ride. That being said, this is a much needed addition to this park. Maybe not a much needed addition to Disney World because you do have some very similar type of rides. This is their first Mach Rides launch coaster, but there's a lot of coasters at Disney that do very similar type of things that Slinky Dog does. But I will say this one does some things better than a lot of the previous ones. This one is smooth, unlike some others. It holds a lot of people per train, unlike some others. So I would just say don't go in with very high expectations when you go to ride Slinky. The ride was about what I expected. I had my expectations set pretty low, and I think that it met those expectations. The only thing that really blew me away was the light package. I did really enjoy that. So for its final score, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I think as a family coaster, it's a fun little family coaster, but there's definitely better family coasters out there. The only thing that I would say this ride really nails in terms of experience is the theming. The rest of the layout is okay. The only thing that really stands out to me that I really thought was pretty neat was how they have that wind-up effect at the second launch. So for that reason, I'd say probably the second half was better than the first half. But at the end of the day, this is Disney World. If you want thrilling coasters, go to SeaWorld or Universal down the road. But that's just my take on Slinky Dog Dash here at Hollywood Studios. Be sure to post your thoughts down in the comments below about what you think of this ride. And of course, stay tuned for more reviews here at Coaster Studios.